Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and it's a nice February day here. We've had a high of 44 Fahrenheit. It's been raining for days, and it's going to rain for several more days. The backyard is a lake, and so I thought this would be a good time to tie up a few loose ends. One of the loose ends I'm going to tie up is right here in my pocket. I need to make one of these to fit a 223, which is basically a 22 caliber on hypersteroids. And so that'll make two of those. And then I when I made the nut for my slitting saw arbor, I kind of got the inside of it dished out, you know, and then the rim around the outside, once I made the hex on it, it was really too thin. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to modify it so that I can use a different measure. I'm going to make a little cap to go on the end of the arbor instead of just the nut, and that'll probably be good enough this afternoon. It'll probably get cold in here by the time I'm through with all that. So I guess we need to get on with it. Well, they canceled the steel challenge on me because of the rain, and that's what I'd rather do than eat, so I guess we'll do a little machining instead. I'm going to put this is the cap that will go on the slitting saw arbor. I'm going to put a 1/2 inch hole through it because my bolt is a 1/2 inch, and then I'll cup out the inside of this a little bit and we'll part it off, and then I can take the bolt and I can make the bolt head a little smaller, I guess, if I think I need to. But this will hold any size of slitting saw because it'll go right over the end and be really tight. Alright, I guess I might as well just quit talking and get on with it. This is some more of that 12L14, what the heck ever, stuff with the lead inside. And it works good. Makes a nice smooth cut and looks really nice. Alright, bring you guys back after I get my drill bits. I never get my stuff together ahead of time. I've got another project planned that involves a little bit of casting, but it's too wet outside and all this rain and stuff to set up the foundry. So even if I had my pattern made, I would still have to wait for the yard to dry up some. I never pour the metal on the concrete because I don't want to break it all up. I've seen what hot metal does to concrete, and of course it's not nice. Sure. Alright, no, come on, let go. Okay, so now that I need to square off the end of that thing, I moved it. That's one of my homemade tool holders right there. Alright, and I think it may be the right height, although I used another tool in it and I had to change the height the other day. Maybe it's on center, or maybe it's close enough to center. How's that? Alright, now then what I want to do is I want to dish it out just a little bit so that it will, in the event that I have a slitting saw, it's a thin one, it'll go over the end of that arbor without touching it and still tighten up on the blade, if you get what I'm saying. So, let's get on it. think that's likely to be the right diameter. I just need to square off the sides of that, the sides of that hole, and yeah, that's about almost a tenth over an inch, so that should be just right. And let me find another tool and I'll square off the edge of it. Alright, let's work the little booger off. There we are. Now I'll take this piece out and put that piece in and just sort of face it off. What a mess it made. Shouldn't have put all that oil on it because it slung it out all over me. I don't think this thing's going to stay hot very long. It doesn't even need any facing off. Look at that. Is that pretty or what? It's alright just like it is. The chamfer on the outside is not as good as the one on the inside, but I couldn't reach it good either. Alright. So we'll let that set a while, and I'll get the brass, and we'll make the little piece that I need. Here's brass right here. I did have the brass handy, and that's just about enough for the job, which means it'll take a little bit of finagling, but we'll get it. I'm going to put you guys to sleep while I center it up. Well, I faced it off before I remembered the camera, but we'll put a little center hole in it here. Just to hold it steady with, just in case. Although this one's going to be relatively small compared to the 45. It's for a 223, which is going to be 0.219 or 0.218. Which is the distance across the lands in the 223 barrel is 0.219. So I figure I need to make this 0.218 so that that it fits fairly well. This is probably the last cut to come down to the size. Almost forgot to wake you guys up again. Everything's going so smooth. I've been making A-bomb sized cuts. This brass is so soft. Let's see what we got now. Alright, that's very, very close. I want to go down another couple of thousandths. There's two thousandths right there, and a tiny little, maybe almost 3. That ought to do the job. It was right at 0.625, but I want it closer to 0.623 so that the peaks of the threads don't have to be so so close. I don't know if you can see that or not. Alright, so now I need to chamfer the end of that, get the threading started. I don't think that I'm going to single point this. I think I'll just take the die and thread it out right. But I do want a little undercut for the thread back at the back. Let's see if I can lean this over a little bit and make a wider surface. Yeah, that's better. All right, well, let me get my die and we'll get after it. I thought sure I had a wrench to fit this guy, but I don't, so we'll just let him finish up the threads when I get close. This is a nice soft material, so instead of going over to 29.5 degrees, I'm just going to plunge it in, just straight in and come out and back off. And I think that'll be more than adequate. We'll find out. I'll make about a 2/1000 cut and check to make sure that I've got everything right. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slow that down. I can't move that fast. I can move this fast, probably. Oh, got to sit a little threading down. Got to attach him here. I always just use the same number every time, and that way I don't get confused. I didn't set it tight enough, did I? Alright, now the numbers are turning. I knew I'd get there. Just back up a little bit. That way I can have plenty of room to make a mistake. Where'd I put? Here's my thread gauge. Yep, it seems to match, so it must be 18 threads per inch. So, let's get on with it, huh? Let's just check that while we're here. So I went in and took some pretty good steps. It should be getting fairly close. See what happens if I try to start this guy on it. Well, that'd burn it all. This guy doesn't want to start on it. Alright, so then I can't be that close, can I? Try it with this guy. It's just a tiny little bit tight, which is okay. That's where we're going to stop, right there.